In 2010, we revealed massive human rights abuses against children in Ghana's flagship children's home.
They are worrying me.
There was an outcry. A committee was set up by government. Recommendations were made. Some culpable staff were removed, yet others stayed at post. Then in 2014, we took our cameras to another children's home where abuse, misuse of donations and negligence was the order.
This shouldn't happen.
After the expose, there was action aimed at reforms at these orphanages. It's been 5 years since. This time, we decided to move to Echoing Hills Village, a residential facility for persons with disability and children in need of shelter and protection. Launched in 1994, it seeks to create opportunities for individuals to know and experience Jesus Christ.
I'm a retired Baptist pastor. Parents must also love the child first and also introduce the child to the things of God.
It currently houses over 80 residents. Like most other shelters for children and most vulnerable persons in society, Echoing Hills has a laudable mission. It also deserves commendation for seeking to protect those that many others would neglect. Yet, how do we ensure an initiative such as this does not fail in its mission? What do we do when we find that those meant to protect become abusers of those they are meant to care for? Where the abused are defenseless and cannot speak for themselves, how do we get the rest of society to care about their plight and be moved to take action? TigerEye received numerous calls from some children within the shelter. They reported cases of physical abuse, neglect, and suspicions that the shelter was veering off its mission to protect. Before reaching out to us, we found out that other children within the facility who could not take any more abuse contacted the police and other authorities within their community to intervene. Yet, nothing changed.
I see them as my own children. I'm the father figure here. So they are able to come to me to express their concerns or their needs. And, just to, they see me as their father, so they're able to relate to me just like that.
In the next 30 minutes, we are going to show you life inside of the Echoing Hills.
donation bi ba ana a party bi ba na se program bi ba se na se ebi mu hihye nta na mo perform na ba we ku fa ba na mo ko ni ma ni wo be hu nta na ma
You know, only the leadership is given mandate. And personally, I cane them, not, you know, not in terms of like maybe stealing or fighting or that kind of styles, but it's like they need to go to school, and by 6, 7 o'clock, you have to get up by 6, get ready, and then go to school. By 7 o'clock, they are still sleeping. So I think they came there and then cane them. So, well, I don't know how somebody will determine that outside, but mine is get up and go to school.
His offense? Walking while he was being called by the mistress of the home. One day in the home, there were reports that one of the boys had gone to have anal sex with another. When the report reached the father of the home, Pastor Lawrence, he confronted the situation by beating one of the boys. Though this was meant to be correctional, beating was very rampant, sometimes seeming like a form of entertainment.
No, they find that they are going to do it at the German. The German. Yes, they were coming to do it and they didn't go wake up.
What did you do? They were coming to do what?
They were going to do that thing. They were saying bad things.
I don't know, I want to come to look for. Look, here is a boss house. There is no Nigerian police house. So why did you come to go, this man knows you. Why did you go and look at him?
I didn't think anything. It's when I'm sleeping at the bed and doing something that Jonathan is when they send me the country. Jonathan, you go sleep off of him and this boy.
Okay.
Come here! Who tell you to do to me?
When a child becomes so much stubborn, instead of, how do you call it, giving beatings or spanking, I would rather give a work to the child to do on the premises. Sometimes I allow them to wash the dishes, sometimes I allow them to do sweeping, sometimes I allow them to go and work with the adults in the bathrooms. So I discipline them, by asking them to work with the adults. In such cases, somebody coming around or a visitor in or a volunteer in don't know the culture and the extent of the extent of we disciplining our children. They don't know that kind of, the culture and the limits and how we go about it. So they will look at it as an abuse. But the one handling it would not, at the back of the mind, will not know that, oh, this is not good, this is wrong, I'm abusing the child.
Here we see Joseph, a caretaker, beating one of the boys for apparently escaping from prison, a holding room where most of the children are kept under lock. Joseph is noted for beating the children, even for the smallest mistakes. Here, he is using the hook of his belt to beat this boy who has mental illness. Clearly, caretakers like Joseph appear to be following in the example of Pastor Lawrence, father and leader of the home, who can be seen here meting out a very intense physical attack on a boy who had offended him.
If someone steals, that also is a serious issue because one of our rules says we don't steal. So for that one too, you take some canes because we don't want you to go out and become an armed robber or to join a gang and go around stealing. So some of the things I personally will give authority for you to be king.
I went and begged. I spent money. The money self has poor. I haven't even got the money back. You come to this school again. Why? You want to kill me? I'll kill you first. You understand?
Pastor, don't follow this boy. If you go, let him go.
But no, but let him go. No, wait, the farm robber. We need to compensation.
He later proceeded to threaten the helpless boy with a knife, prompting others to restrain him.
You are not to kill. That's what you are telling me.
We found other children kept in this holding facility. It has come to be known as prison. Those who offend caretakers are taken in there and locked up. According to the Children's Act, orphanages need to be inspected regularly by district social workers, gazette, and their license needs to be renewed every year. Their day-to-day operations are carefully set out in this document, National Standards for Residential Homes for Orphans and Vulnerable Children in Ghana. This document was created by the Commission of Inquiry, which government set up after our expose on Osu Children's Home in 2010. It notes, the Residential Home for Children, RHC, has ancillary staff to support the caregivers in their tasks and to promote the well-being and safety of the children and premises. The RHC makes use of social workers and psychologists for professional guidance and access to medical personnel. Yet, we found little to no supervision of these children. There were various scenes of this happening, like this right here. And this.
Chanapa. It is me. 8 getting to 9.
Another one, and many others. There is a case of this physically challenged child left on his own who ended up feeding on waste in his diapers. In the midst of all this abuse and neglect, the case of diversion of donations was one of the glaring contradictions at Echoing Hills Village. On its website, which is targeted at donors in Ghana and abroad, we found this. Echoing Hills Ghana is the only program that depends solely on the generosity of our friends and partners. Your donations make a difference in the lives of the people in Ghana. Without you and your kind generosity, we would not be able to provide the much-needed life-sustaining program that are currently offered. This appeal to the generosity of others, we found, is the defining feature of most facilities like these. On a primary level, it appeals to the human need to help. But how do we ensure accountability? How can we be sure that these donations are not used for the people and purposes for which they were given? While we embedded within Echoing Hills, we found that the donated items were not used appropriately.
Biscuits not for me. Drink. One a drink. Two. Biscuits in your endorsement. I'll give them biscuits and stuff. Toffee sure. I don't catch them. Okay, we'll catch it on your man. Why? Okay. For you, man.
On this occasion, numerous donated items were loaded into this pickup truck and driven into the night. We didn't know where it was being sent. There were days when some staff also brought taxis to carry some of the goods to their various homes.
Contribution made a life a little bit better.
There is always a sense of joy when donations came in from the public. The children are made to put on their best clothes and pose for pictures with the donors. Once these donors leave, a lot of the donated items are moved out of the facility.
Not everybody go to the storeroom to take out food. And then also those people, when there's a request, there are people who have to go there and give you the food. And then when you want to also give food out, you have to also let the others know where the food is going. We have a sister orphanage called Hand Evangelism. They're at Hacho. And then they normally don't receive as much as we receive, so we share our food with them. That one too is another organization, but I also double as the leader there. So I do send some of the food there too, at Hacho. Yeah, but there's a home, director there who is in charge. But for us to be able to, what we call a balance check, so there's somebody always, in front to be checking the other, home to make sure that whatever is going there, whatever is being donated there is properly put into good use.
One day, we followed a truckload of donated items from the home and found it being offloaded at a container shop in Tema. Our checks later revealed that the shop owners were regular customers who buy donated items from Pastor Lawrence, the father of the Echoing Hills village. According to National Standard for Residential Homes, caretakers must ensure that children are protected against abuse and exploitation. Staff responds positively to acceptable behavior, and where the behavior of children is regarded as unacceptable by staff, it is responded to by constructive, acceptable, and known disciplinary measures approved by DSW. Measures of control and disciplinary measures are based on establishing positive relationship with children and are designed to help the children. We found violations of this. On many occasions, kids were sent into the bush to cut and load logs of wood.
What is it do? Pastor? What is it do? I almost come with Jordan.
Other days, they get sent off to dig mounds of sand or carry cement blocks onto tracks and push to a building site. It happened during the day and sometimes in the night.
So no me say me ejuma, so no me say me there. So no dey over on to me money 5 cedi. On dey on to me money kokoba go. On dey over 10 cedi, 5 cedi. No dey man. On dey me on dey oil good thing passer. On dey over I want me 10 cedi, 5 cedi, 10 cedi, 5 cedi.
Enemy baho.
Hey, shut up. What me boy?
Enemy baho. And I'm be proud on tina me mom so no. And na me ko bun so na.
What's the meaning of the plan? What the hell is it? What's the I want the dear also in just how did it? Pro, the national proud of what's the meaning? Can I tell you? I am aware of what the said. I'm not we are and also
We also found other issues, such as donated items like bread going moldy. We also came across reports of sexual abuse among children at the home.
Do you know how many times I won another? 3 times.
Why more than 3 boo? I can't see more than 3. More than 3.
Did you ever said?
Don't let me go to a station. I'm going to go outside and on the Wednesday, I'm going to I'm operation. I'm going to watch your mother anyway, and I thought I'm going to come down before. But I'm not going to go up at some before. If you have some look up at some before, then of course, my benefit to us. I'm going to enemy. Maybe, then until I can't do example. No more than trans on board. It's a minute. I'll put my blanket to bid for our money. You're moving. That's the end of it. And I'm talking jump quite quick. Jump jump quite school. Minante the officer of the school in Mamugo. I'm saying not to call LG. I think they are receiving Nija. Nija. But then we get Nija. Sir, you can turn us in. But believe that she let 2 citizens. One of the man was a teacher. And they also quite also will be a Nija. And the oh, Juniper. We are near. Nothing and now connect teacher do that. I might can do that. Who can let me? I don't know. Not you.
And my sister Intimidi ko bara menu so bi wa intimidi bara ni ko mi yemi shimi ho bi ti obuti emi yemi shimi bat mi ni pa ko intimitu bara ni wie ni emi sane ni ti mi ba na sa obi friend emi sana no si ni di kushan sa mi ho ni kan sa ni di kushi intimi ko na si mi ron ta ba fa sa na ka tira mi se Misuse, one is no friends, me, but not intimate. Let me say, nation. Ase a wekisi na fide na afosi. Afosi na oposi na odini tupa.
No, report. Huh? Huh? Yeah, no, I mean, too. And I had it.
Ndamoko ayamuko kai. Ndamuka chatu na myantu na misinko kachatu ntimiko kati. Nuka chatu magi se. Nka simko repoti ni mama pasanti. But me na kwa tuma kaso oko ya kacha pasanti. Mi jwa ne pasabe kacha nsi. Mi jwa livia me ko kuchin ko yeju. Nti obi abe frame ya odina kansi.
Into a friend, not to say.
I got something. Maybe you must have it do by Monday. You can join our friend or the Mukasa or sit to the meeting.
No, Ocopacho.
William, then I want
and upon my father.
We are the day. We are yesterday. My pastor, boy, in the report. And now, 1 year, some punish you. So, what kind of anything no punish you? Now, a friend is saying, boy, now report on you. So, pushing. Into an over school and local school.
New 2018 data from the Department of Children shows that almost 20% of Ghana's children may be either single or double orphans. This is a huge figure, and how are these children being cared for? The laws of Ghana set standards to guide the placement of children in the family environment, and if that is not available, in alternative care. The alternative care can be foster care with family or foster parents and placement in orphanages or children's home should only be a last resort. Diverse laws make it clear that children should be placed in orphanages as a temporary measure and ideally for no more than 3 months before being reintegrated into society. Yet this is not happening. The children are being used by the orphanages as a means of generating income, and many of them stay there until they become adults, after which they are dumped on the streets with little training and no preparation at all for independent life. Many are not orphans at all. They have family that could be caring for them if helped to do so. According to the Children's Act, orphanages need to be inspected regularly by district social workers, gazetted, and their license needs to be renewed every year. Their day-to-day operations are carefully set out in this document, National Standards for Residential Homes for Orphans and Vulnerable Children in Ghana, that came into being as a result of the Commission of Inquiry that government set up after our expose on Osu Children's Home in 2010. Despite this, our findings at Echoing Hills Village fail to meet the following prescriptions. Corporal punishment and humiliating treatment, including verbal abuse, is never used. Children are assisted to develop socially acceptable behavior through encouragement, positive reinforcement, and constructive staff response to inappropriate behavior. R8C is managed by people with the necessary skills and experience in relation to safeguarding and promoting the welfare of children. The R8C has ancillary staff to support the caregivers in their task and to promote the well-being and safety of the children and premises. The R8C makes use of social workers and psychologists for professional guidance and access to medical personnel. R8C has a complaints procedure for children, parents, guardians, and staff. All involved are informed about this procedure at the time of the child's admission. Enough qualified staff to feed them according to their needs. All donations received by the R8C are documented and properly accounted for. The R8C allocates sufficient resources in consultation with a nutritionist to prepare diets. Caregivers are trained in preparing healthy meals for a large family. The R8C is responsible for monitoring that the children receive a diet that complies with their individual needs, example, medication and allergies, in order to promote their best possible health. Children are not routinely excluded from communal meals because of disability or as a punishment. Children are protected against abuse and exploitation. Staff responds positively to acceptable behavior, and where the behavior of children is regarded as unacceptable by staff, it is responded to by constructive, acceptable, and known disciplinary measures approved by DSW. Measures of control and disciplinary measures are based on establishing positive relationship with children and are designed to help the child.
We will not let you handle children, in a certain way. No. So when we start training children, they would grow, and then they are coming to take our place. So I believe that let's give that a good life to the child. After 20 years, you see the difference that would have, because we've groomed our children to come and take our place. And they will tell their parents, don't litter. They will tell their parents, you can't hit somebody's child. They will tell their parents, Mommy, do you know it is wrong to use something to hit me?